What hides in the shadows? Ever had that feeling that something's going on, but no one dares to say it out loud? Like there are unseen forces pulling the strings behind history, silent, powerful, maybe even dangerous, forces that shape governments, manipulate economies, and keep their secrets locked up tighter than Fort Knox. Today you'll hear about secret societies so mysterious, even most conspiracy theorists stay away from them. But be warned, some doors, once opened, can never be closed. The most feared club. The Illuminati. Founded back in 1776 in Bavaria, the Illuminati started out with noble intentions, to bring light to human reason. But what began as a philosophical movement turned into one of the most feared secret societies in history. Some say they control the media, stir up wars, even pick presidents. Is it all just wild speculation? Or are we only scratching the surface? And what if I told you Illuminati symbols are still hiding in plain sight, maybe even in your wallet? The Rosicrucians, keepers of the mystical. Picture a group of men and women claiming to hold the secrets of the universe. The Rosicrucian Order, a brotherhood that's been exploring metaphysical laws since the 1600s. They say they don't want fame, political power, or control, just hidden knowledge. At least that's the story. But some believe they quietly influence decisions in universities, churches, and even scientific institutions. The warriors behind the veil, Knights Templar. Caught somewhere between legend and reality. The Templars were monks, warriors, and yes, bankers. They built one of the world's first banking systems. Their end was brutal, hunted down, tortured, burned alive. But before they disappeared, rumor has it they hid something that's never been found. What secret was so dangerous that both the church and kings wanted the entire order wiped out? The Hunters of Mystery, Order of St. Hubertus. Looks like just another hunting club, but the Order of St. Hubertus, founded in 1695, is more than forest get-togethers. Wearing green robes and chanting old hymns, they claim to honor God through nature. Sounds noble, right? Until one particular scandal rocked the world. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia was found dead at one of their retreats. Coincidence? The media brushed it off, but the silence spoke louder than any press release. Skull and bones. Brains behind the power. At the heart of Yale University, there's a windowless building called the Tomb. That's where one of America's most elite secret societies meets, Skull and Bones. Its members, George W. Bush, John Kerry, and other big names in politics. They gather for secret rituals, and according to whispers, they even fake their own funerals to be reborn into the society. Are major political decisions made inside those walls before they ever hit Congress? Patriots or power players? The name sounds harmless, Patriotic Order of Sons of America. But when it was founded in 1847, it had a crystal clear agenda, to protect the interests of true Americans. For decades, they didn't allow non-white members. They say they've changed, but they're still around. How many groups like this still operate in the shadows of American politics? The most hated of all, Ku Klux Klan. Few secret societies have a history as dark as the KKK. Formed after the Civil War, their goal was simple: spread hate and fear. Today, they're a shadow of what they once were, but they haven't disappeared. Estimates say between 5,000 and 8,000 members still gather in secret. But what's more disturbing? That they still exist, or that almost no one talks about them anymore. Click, but don't go too deep yet. That was just the first 7, and you can already tell the rabbit hole goes way deeper. Get ready. Because in part 2, we'll dive into groups tied to magic, murders, and even ritualistic sex. Some are still active. Others were only brought down after leaving behind trails of death and scandal. Coming up next, from the Hermetic Order, mysteries to the dark conspiracy of Italy's P2 Lodge, a journey into the darkest corners of secret societies, where black magic, scandal, and death collide. Think what you've heard so far is as weird as it gets. Think again. The next groups blur the lines between the occult, criminal activity, and the downright unexplainable. Some were exposed way too late. Others, still out there, hiding under new names, symbols, and disguises. Freemasons, The riddles of the compass. The Freemasons might be the most famous secret society in the world, and maybe the most misunderstood. Rooted in medieval guilds, their rituals, oaths, and secret rankings are still off limits to outsiders. And what if I told you presidents, musicians, writers, and war heroes were all Freemasons? George Washington, Mozart, Winston Churchill. Coincidence, or a carefully designed global network of influence? The Elks, outsiders who built their own society. Rejected by traditional groups, two black men created the IBPOEW, a fraternal African-American society. During segregation, their meetings were more than gatherings. They were acts of defiance. Today, the group survives as a symbol of pride and heritage, but like so many others, they have inner rituals and secret codes that have never been made public. ODD Fellows, the strange ones who help behind the scenes. Yep, that's really their name. The Odd Fellows. Founded in 1819 in the US, their motto sounds harmless enough: friendship, love, and truth. But behind the feel-good vibes lies a layer of secrecy. Some say their rituals involve human bones and symbolic reenactments of death and rebirth. Is it selfless service, or devotion to something we don't quite understand? The Orange Order, a religious war in disguise for centuries. Catholics and Protestants clashed in Northern Ireland. But behind the Protestant resistance stood a secret society, the Grand Orange Lodge. Technically illegal at first, the group still grew, and today their marches still stir up tension in the streets of Ireland. What started as a defense of faith became a symbol of division. Knights of Pythias, friendship's secret guardians. Founded in 1864 and even recognized by the US Congress, the Knights of Pythias were inspired by a Greek legend of loyal friendship. But if they're all about brotherhood, why the secrecy? Why keep their rituals locked away for over 150 years? What exactly are they protecting? Molly Maguires. The Miners' Revenge. In 19th century Pennsylvania, desperate for better working conditions, a group of miners went underground, literally and figuratively. They became the Molly Maguires. Accused of murder, sabotage, and terror, they were infiltrated by Pinkerton spies and given sham trials. Were they vigilantes, or just victims of a brutal, rigged system? P2, the Masonic Lodge that almost toppled Italy. Imagine a Masonic lodge so powerful it reached into the military, the government, even the Vatican. That was Propaganda Due, or P2, led by Licio Gelli. When it was officially banned, it didn't disappear. It went underground, tied to a banker's mysterious death, Vatican corruption, and attempted state sabotage. And here is the kicker. They kept secret lists of over 1,000 members, with codenames, passwords, and access to Italy's highest offices. Black Hand, the spark that ignited a world war. You know the story. In 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated, triggering World War I. But did you know a secret society was behind it? The Black Hand was a Serbian military group with one mission: to unite Slavic peoples under one banner. The bullet fired by Gavrilo Princip lit a global firestorm, and it all started in a dimly lit room behind a locked door. Thule Society, the roots of Nazism founded in post-World War I Germany. The Thule Society blended occultism, nationalism, and Aryan mysticism. Members like Rudolf Hess and Hans Frank were key players in the Nazi rise to power. They weren't just chasing political control. They were chasing the rebirth of a pure race connected to ancient spiritual forces. Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Magic for the elite. At the end of the 1800s, 3 British Freemasons created the most enigmatic occult society in Europe, the Golden Dawn. Their teachings ranged from astrology to the invocation of spiritual entities. And out of this group came none other than Aleister Crowley, the most controversial magician of the modern age. This was a society where the occult wasn't just studied, it was lived. Yeah, it's getting darker than you probably expected. And in part 3, things go next level. We'll explore modern, digital, and even more disturbing societies and online mysteries that remain unsolved to this day. Groups mixing sex, power, dark rituals. From Cicada, 3301 to the Bohemian Club, you will see that the secrets didn't disappear. Coming next, the societies still active today, and maybe watching you right now. They're still here. And they're watching. Think secret societies are a thing of the past? Think again. Some of them are still alive, thriving and hiding in plain sight. Others have gone fully digital, recruiting members without ever showing their faces. And some, well, they never disbanded at all. Today we dive into the most bizarre, dangerous and recent secret societies of the modern era. Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, magic, sex and power. Inspired by Freemasonry, but taken to the extreme by occultist Aleister Crowley, the OTO might just be the wildest society on this list. Their motto? Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This group mixes ceremonial magic with sexual rituals, astrology, and summoning of spiritual entities. Crowley turned it into a strange blend of temple, lab, and exclusive private club. They say they're seekers of ultimate truth, but the real question is, at what cost? Cicada 3301, the internet's most mysterious global recruitment. Between 2012 and 2014, strange images started popping up on 4chan. Complex puzzles, QR codes, GPS coordinates, obscure literary references. The name? Cicada 3301. The goal seemed clear. Recruit the world's smartest minds, but for what? No one knows who's behind it. CIA, a digital cult, hackers, or just the world's most elaborate social experiment. People spent days, even weeks, chasing clues. A few made it to the end. None of them have ever revealed what they found. Bohemian Club, the club of the powerful picture. This, a foggy forest in Northern California, towering redwoods, armed guards, and in the middle of it all, billionaires, politicians, bankers, and artists gathered around a giant stone owl. Sounds like a movie. It's real. It's called Bohemian Grove, the private retreat of the Bohemian Club, founded in 1872. Presidents like Nixon and Reagan were regulars. Rumors swirl of theatrical rituals, and political deals made far from the public eye. Some ex-members claim the biggest deals in the world, they start right there in the grove. Tongs, the Eastern secret. Originally from 17th century China, the Tongs came to America alongside Chinese immigrants. On the surface, they looked like mutual aid groups. But behind closed doors, some evolved into full-blown criminal organizations, involved in trafficking, extortion, and even executions. The line between brotherhood and mafia blurred, and to this day, some Tongs are still active in the US and Canada, often hidden in plain sight. Odin Brotherhood, the hidden Nordic faith. Not much is known about the Odin Brotherhood. They claim to follow the Old Norse gods, not as myths but as a real living faith. But they also refuse to speak to the media. Freedom, power, wisdom, that's their creed. Their rituals are secret. Their meeting places completely unknown. They insist they're not a cult. Sound familiar? Scotch cattle, the miners' midnight justice leave warnings, and vanish into the dark. In early 19th century Wales, a group of coal miners decided to take justice into their own hands, targeting fellow workers who broke strikes. Wearing cowhides and painting bullheads on doors, they became the nightmare of so-called traitors. They'd knock at midnight. Were they wiped out, or did they simply change their tactics? Here on Duval d'Or, a church within the church. Founded in France in 1873, this Catholic secret society aimed to fuse Christian faith with Hermetic and occult teachings. Though officially disbanded in 1926, some of their writings still baffle modern theologians. They even built a museum, the Musée du Héron, which still exists today, but it raises more questions than it answers. Wolf's Head, the new guardians of secrecy. At Yale University, beyond the well-known Skull and Bones, there's another ultra-exclusive society, Wolf's Head. Very little is known about who's in it or what they do, but rumor has it, unlike the others, Wolf's Head specializes in hiding the fact that it even exists. You won't hear about them until it's already too late. The truth that survived time. These 25 secret societies, they're just the beginning. Some shaped empires, others destroyed lives, and many are still out there, lurking just beyond the reach of justice and far from public view. What do they all have in common? The power of silence. Because real secrets aren't about what you know, they're about what you never even realized was there. Now we want to hear from you. Which of these societies do you think is still active today? Which one disturbed you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to open their eyes. Oh, and of course, if you're into mysteries, hidden truths, and the secrets that shaped our world, subscribe, hit the bell. And get ready, mass, because the next videos will take you even deeper down this rabbit hole. Until next time. And remember, be careful what lurks in the shadows.